All right. Now it is time for the biggest screw up I've ever had as a leader. Now, this one is going to be a very tough one to talk about because it really impacted my entire life. Uh, this was the reason that I got broken up with in a relationship with a girl that I loved very dearly, and lost my best friend. I lost basically my entire friend group at that time. I, I lost all the respect of everyone around me, and no one cared about me. And it's because of this mess up. And it feels weird because this only happened a year ago as of recording this, but I've learned so much from it and I've changed so much that I feel like, especially now as it's a year later, and of course I will always have other revelations, but I think right now is a good enough time to where I can actually say it in a format to where it is purely based on my logical decisions, like logical explanations to my emotional reasonings, and how you can prevent that, and also how to actually deal with stress and deal with when things don't go your way, especially when like things go the opposite of where you need them to go. Because trust me, I know how it is. And this was the most stressful time of my life, and it doesn't give me an excuse. I'm just letting you know, like, the way I handled it because of the stress I was under, and I'll go through it all, but it was hard. It was just difficult. But with that being said, let's start from, I guess, the beginning. So freshman year, I just moved back to what I consider like my home state, or the closest thing to a home state that I have. And so what I did was not necessarily by choice. This was by parents' choice. I had joined the orchestra program because I had been in orchestra for about 8 years up to this point. So joined the orchestra program at my school. And as I do everything, I always want to go not just to do what's required, but go above and beyond. Because to me, a leader is someone who just keeps going relentlessly without expectation of anything in return. And for most of my life, I completely agree on that sentiment. And so I was the stage manager. I'd done so many things. And the time that the belief changed was, I believe it was right after the car accident of last year. And I thought more selfishly, and I was thinking more of how can I be happy? Which is why 10 days later, I asked my now ex out on a date because I truly, truly did like her. And I mean, to say it, I'm pretty sure I was already falling for her. If not, I already fell for her at that point. And the reason I bring this up is because it shows you the mental state that I was in, especially after a car accident. I was out of my mind. That same day that I got in a car accident, I was at an orchestra concert, and I couldn't even hold my bow. For those of you who don't know, there's a wooden stick on a violin. For just because this is the closest thing, you hold it like this. It's a long stick that has horsehair underneath that you pull on the violin. But I couldn't even hold it. And, she was there. Claire was there. She was watching the whole thing. And I don't think she saw me struggling on stage, and I really hope she didn't. And I hoped at that moment that she didn't, because it was difficult. But 3 days after that, asked her out, and yeah. But 10 days later, asked her out, and she said yes, and she had seen me struggling because car accident was. I was limping I have a natural limp, but I'm talking limp. It was bad. But after that, and even a little bit before that, I wanted to do something for my orchestra conductor who is retiring, and she hosts a pop concert every year. It's just what most schools do. At the end of the year, there's a pops concert, and everyone has a ton of fun. And I wanted to dedicate a piece to her for all the efforts that she's done. Now, not many people in my school liked her as a conductor, and it wasn't because she was bad. In fact, she was, if not, is the first or second best conductor that I've ever had the privilege to be under. But she was awesome. And many of the kids didn't like her, which she said was fine, I thought was fine, but I thought that they would have the respect to at least give a final farewell. Now, there were two choices that I was picking between, and I know I was thinking a bit selfishly, but I was picking between two pieces, which was one by Cody Fry and one which we had played for another individual who had committed suicide 2 years earlier. And I didn't want to bring up the memories of the past like that, so I decided to go with Cody Fry because I know that my conductor loved that music, and it would be a good opportunity to give the kids something that they would like to play, at least what I thought they would like to play. Now, of course, this was not me actually thinking, this was me just going off. Whether that was just selfish thinking or because I had a concussion, I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to take the blame as if it wasn't because of the concussion. But I do want to let you guys know that, like, it was, like, even if it was the concussion, I'm still going to take blame for this because it was horrible what I did. And so I was working with administration, but I didn't tell any of the orchestra about it. I was a part of the council at this time, and I was the stage manager. I was the technician. No one else was doing anything, at least at the time, so I thought. There were a lot of people who minorly helped, but I will say the majority of the technical work was on me, which was irresponsible of me to do because I wasn't fit to do all of the roles. I would throw up backstage every single concert, and I even came close to, if not, I did faint at a couple, and it was very unhealthy. And from a leadership perspective, I should have asked for help more clearly. I know I did say that I did ask for help, but I didn't say it clearly. So that is something that to take from that. But at the very last second, like 2-3 days before, the orchestra and I had a confrontation, and they're like, hey, band's not coming because only 3 of the band members came, and I was like, yeah, I know, but we gotta do this. Like, I had already spent a lot of money on the sheet music. Sheet music is not cheap. It is very expensive. But I was like, I will do it. At least at the time, it was very expensive. But I will do it. And I did. I didn't ask for permission. I didn't ask for anyone else's opinion, which was all wrong. But then they canceled. They're like, we're not doing this. This isn't good. I'm like, okay. And I was on the verge of breaking because I didn't know how to communicate in my relationship, and that was affecting my mental state. And I was like on the verge of breaking, and the concert happened. Everything went as smoothly as it could. And 2 days later, banquet happened for the orchestra. And I'm not going to say that this is their fault. Of course, like, things happen. They explained to me why they didn't, and it wasn't because of a personal attack. It just, there were things that happened on their end that they couldn't. But there were things that they did called paper plate awards, and it was an award that they would give to certain members for certain attributes that they were known for. The reason I got really pissed off was every single person had gotten an award except for myself. As a leader, you should never, ever expect rewards. At the same time, you should never tolerate disrespect. To me, that was disrespect, and because of all the problems I've had in my relationship, and of course that was just because of my communication. My ex was amazing. I have nothing but good things to say about her. This is just, I could get into that another time. It may happen. We'll see. But because of that, then I blew up on the orchestra. I had written a 10-page essay. Actually, it was 13 pages. Then I asked ChatGPT to make it professional, and it brought it down to 10. And I posted the 10-page essay on the wall of the orchestra room for everyone to see. And it went through every single thing that I did, everything that I sacrificed for the program. And there were a few things that I had the orchestra program as a scapegoat for, which wasn't okay. And as a leader, like, don't ever, ever, ever use scapegoats. Ever. I really don't care what the problem was. If someone did something, have them take accountability. But you as a leader also got to take accountability. I did not take accountability. And that was all my fault. Like, truth be told, I messed up the relationship I was in. I was the problem with the orchestra program because I wouldn't ask for help. I wouldn't help anyone else. I thought I was helping other people, but really I was putting more stress onto people because I wasn't properly communicating. And I thought I was, but I wasn't using the tactics that I had been using for years. And I thought because I already knew I didn't need to use the tactics, and because of that, after the car accident, I lost the tactics that I use to communicate, and it led to unclear communication. It led to people thinking I was lying, and some people still do think I'm lying because of it. That's how bad it is to not use these tactics in communication, in leadership, because if you don't, people won't believe you. And whether or not everything I say is true, as a leader, I need people to believe in the vision so that way they can help. And so that way I can help them help themselves. But I can't help them if they don't believe in me, and they can't help me if they don't believe in me. And as much as I believe in myself, when you have hundreds of others who don't believe in you, you start to lose faith in yourself. And that's because I just didn't use tactics. And I'll go into tactics more, and I talk a lot about communication tactics in my upcoming book. But after posting that 10-page essay, I had so many complaints, or not complaints, but so many parents worried and so many kids worried that my ex, which I'm glad about, by the way, what I'm about to say, because that showed me that they cared. But my ex's friends, I had a lot of the orchestra kids, a lot of the orchestra kids' parents, I had a lot of the theater kids, a lot of the theater kids' parents. A lot of them had called the school or went to the counseling office and said that they were afraid for my safety and the safeties of those around them. I am happy that they were concerned and the fact that they cared. And many of them had just asked for the counselors to check up on me. And we had many discussions, and it was difficult. And even after that, I still made mistakes with communication. I mean, early in the school year this year, I kept trying to contact my ex, which she had asked to not have contact, which was irresponsible of me, and it wasn't okay for me to do it. I always try to position myself in a way to where people are always comfortable contacting me, even if it's for uncomfortable situations. And to me, at the time, it was, oh, well, in order to make it more comfortable, I should reach out to her and be like, hey, I'm sorry for what I did. Because I genuinely was. I just didn't know exactly what I was sorry for. And I didn't know how to describe it. Now it's been so long that I don't know what to say, but I still feel the sorrow. I still feel the guilt, although much of it has been raised just because I understand that I was a dumb kid. And the fact that, although it wasn't her fault completely, she could have also made things work if she wanted to. If she genuinely wanted to, we could have talked things out, and I'm open enough to change to where I would have changed. And I'd been open with her about it, but it's her life, and she doesn't want that, so yeah. But back with the orchestra program, they had said that they were worried about my safety and the safeties of others. That was the majority of the school that of the programs I was in. And so we had talked, and me and the counselors had talked, and they saw how heartbroken I was because I really, really cared. And I'm sure everyone there could see it. Everyone saw that I was just a scared kid. And I wish I'd seen that myself. And more than that, I wish that I would accept the fact that it was okay to be scared, but to talk about it. And while you can't do it often as a leader, it's also good to communicate when you're stressed. It's good to communicate when you don't know what to do. And simply, if you feel stressed, if you feel alone, if you feel scared, frightened, all you have to do is text someone in your group, someone you know, or talk to someone you can trust, and just say, hey, can you give me 8 minutes? I'm scared and I don't know what to do. The reason why I say, can you give me 8 minutes, is because when I've been learning about suicide prevention, the way that you text someone when you don't know how to ask for help is, do you have 8 minutes? Normally it will go over 8 minutes, but it at least makes it so that way it's not uncomfortable asking. It's kind of like how people are, of course there's algorithm reasons and stuff like that, but there's a reason why people say unalive instead of the actual word, and it's because of the fact that, it's less direct. There's a reason why when presidents talk about soldiers who have fallen, that they say that they've fallen or that they're deceased. They don't say the actual word. And it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay. As a leader, you are always going to be stressed. There are billion-dollar net worth people who are in high positions of high companies, and so many people are like, you shouldn't be stressed. You have all the success in the world. Think about it from their point of view. They lead hundreds, dozens to hundreds of people. They're responsible for the lives of those dozens to hundreds of people. If they fail so bad that the company gets shut down, there's a chance that those dozens to hundreds of people, they might not, of course this is far-fetched, but they might not be able to find another job. And that means they suffer and their families suffer. All because one person didn't know how to lead properly. And that's a scary position. In my position, I tried so hard to imagine it in the same way with the high school students. And it was very unhealthy to do that with high school students, don't get me wrong. But I figured if I thought of it like that, I would care so much that I would do whatever it takes to make it work. And I had no one to vent to. I could have vented to my ex, but I didn't know how to. It all seemed selfish every time that I brought up my problems, although I brought them up way too much, and she had made a point of that. But it was scary, and I didn't have the answers that I wanted, because I was used to having more, for the lack of a better term, power, like more control over the situation, and I wasn't in control with the orchestra. I thought that my merit by just doing everything I could for the program would be enough, but that's not what a leader's about. It's not about doing things and then expecting anything in return, which is what I was doing. For the majority of high school, I didn't think that. Except for after the accident, then I had a few months, like 4 or 5 months, where I did think that. I would never say I did, and I didn't think I did, but I did. And every single person has these limiting beliefs, but sometimes you just gotta break them, and the only way to break them is by going through such a terrible pain that you are forced to change. And after the orchestra situation, I had done TED Talk, I published my book and all that, and it was because of how painful it was. But what would I do now differently? I would go out, talk to people, and be like, hey, I'm scared, I don't know what to do, I need your insight to help me lead. And I would pick out a few people who I trust and have that serious conversation with them. At the time, if I have the knowledge I have now, minus like the experience, but I brought it back to then, like minus the heartbreak and all that, and I brought my knowledge to then, I would ask my ex's best friend, I would ask my orchestra conductor, I would ask the district's art department leader, and I would have asked Mark, the guy who I had gotten in a car accident with. I would have asked all of them for help, knowing what I know now. But you can't change the past, you can only move forward, and I think that you guys should absolutely look into getting a community of your own, because it is hard, because it does suck. But when you have that community and you admit that you're scared and you don't know what to do, those people actually respect you more. I've done that multiple times this year alone in 2025, and there are a lot of people who respect the hell out of me right now because I just tell them I don't know, but here's what I can tell you that I do know. And now for a lot of them, we're ride or die because they respect me so much. Now, do I wish that I had this same ride or die relationship with the people who I had lost? Of course I do. Of course I do. Because they did nothing wrong and they were amazing people. But a lot of the times, life happens in a way to where it puts people in positions where everyone wins in the end as long as everyone takes what they had received as a win. For my ex, she thinks that I'm a liar and cheapskate and a manipulator. Well, the good thing for her is that she knows what to look for to not date a guy. To not look for an insecure guy, because I was insecure. And that's okay. And I'm happy for her. The fact that hopefully she took that lesson. For other people, it's just don't. I don't know what other lessons that there are. I'm sure I could think of some, but for the sake of the podcast, since we're going on almost 30 minutes, and I don't want to do any longer than 30-minute episode yet. Basically, just communicate with people. And then when you do feel like the pressure is building up, take a step back and delegate, but don't manage. What you do is you go up to your team, go up to your coworkers, go up to your bosses, just say, hey, this is the situation. Like for me, I've been working every day. Life sucks. I have a family who I feel like at the time I felt this, it's not true. But at the time I felt like my family didn't care about me. My relationship was going down the drain. I felt like I had no friends. I felt like I had no support system. I was still helping people through suicidal thoughts. I had just gone through 2 of the worst deaths of my life personally. And just life was rough. I should have communicated that and just been like, hey, these are what I want to do, but I need desperate help because I can't do these. I can only conduct, which is what I was planning on doing, like directing/conducting. Can only direct and conduct, so I need people to help with lights and sound. I need people to help with stage management, stage setup, all that kind of stuff. I need help with that for theater. I need help with just, I can't do almost anything alone because I'm too stressed that I'm going to mess something up. With my relationship, I should have just been like, hey, look, can we just spend more time together, because that was a huge thing. I was so scared of spending time because I was scared of myself, but I should have just asked to spend more time. That would have prevented a lot of these issues, and who knows, maybe we might have still been together, but ask for more time with my ex, take a couple days off and like talk with my parents and just be like, I can't do this anymore. I need a break. And like have that hard conversation. Now, I truly do believe that one of my parents would not have let me do it, but I would have fought tooth and nail. And at least if I would have, had such a bad argument that would have led to me getting kicked out, I at least would have had a support group with my ex, with her friends, and with Mark. But yeah, as a leader, the hardest part is to be vulnerable and to communicate you being vulnerable. But that's the most important part, and that's the biggest lesson that I took from it. I hope that you guys found some value in this, but yeah, I appreciate every single one of you. This will be the last post for today, but I will catch you all tomorrow with hopefully a better story and a lot more uplifting and all that kind of stuff. So I'll catch y'all in the next one.